Arguably the most annoying intro tune that I could possibly find. Welcome to At the Tap End. I think we're up to week 4 already. Doesn't time fly when you sat in the bath? So it's quite appropriate, this one. So we're middle of August. I've seen a lot of posts on LinkedIn about people graduating, people leaving college, people about to step into the big, wild work environment. But how do they go about it? What steps do they take? Well, I think I found the man for you, the man to answer all the questions. Let's welcome him to the Tap End today. Jake Richings, how are you?
Hi, Lee, you're right.
I'm very good. I'm a little bit wet and a little bit damp if I'm bubbly and warm and stuff. But apart from that, I'm very good. Thank you very much. How the devil are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. I tell you what, that intro music, it made me feel like I was on children's TV.
Yeah.
And then cutting to you, I was like, nah, this is not children's TV.
Yeah. No. Yeah, perfect. So I just want to say thank you for joining me at the Tap End today. But for those people who don't know who Jake is, who is Jake and how has he got to sit in the Tap End today?
Yeah, so my name is Jake Richings. I help young people to reach their potential after having a very unfulfilling career, doing lots of different stuff. I realized that I wanted a bit more. I wanted to make a difference in my career. In fact, I knew what I wanted to do when I was at school. I wanted to be a Dolphin when I was 6. And then by the time I got to secondary school, I thought, no, that's not right for me. I'll just get a normal job like being a professional musician or something like that. A #1 bestseller. And then after leaving school, it changed again. And then after my first job, it changed again. And you sort of get the picture. My dream job kept changing. And it was only when I started to not only struggle at work with my mental health, but try to look into how do people enjoy their jobs? Do we just have to wait until we're 40, 50, 60 years old and we've worked it out by trial and error, which to me didn't seem very exciting. So I ended up reading all the books, watching all the TED Talks, and just trying to surround myself with that knowledge. And then I realized that my friends had the same problem. They didn't know what they wanted to do. They were unfulfilled in their work. People I didn't know had the same problem as well. They always said, yeah, I don't really like work, but it's money, isn't it? And I feel like we can strive for a bit more. We can go after jobs that we love, and it shouldn't just be a privilege to enjoy what you do for work. So now I keynote speak, I run workshops and mentorship sessions to help people find careers that they love.
Perfect. I love that. Thank you for sure. I guess actually my first question is, this could be the closest you've been to being a Dolphin today, joining me in the bath.
Yeah, exactly. And the weird thing is, I remember quite vividly at 6 years old wanting to be a Dolphin. It just felt so right. But I look back and I don't even like swimming. I'm not very good at swimming. So why did I want to be a Dolphin? And then I think that same message goes on throughout, like with music, for example. I remember being really keen on being a musician and that just being like, that's the only thing I'm going for. And whilst I still do a little bit of music now, I don't think I'd want to do this full time,
Yeah.
I think a lot of time. Yeah, go on.
No, yeah. So the thing that just popped into my head then is you've now got clarity on who you are and what you do and how you help people.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, you were finding different paths and different ways and stuff and seeing what you liked and what you didn't like. Is there a particular moment when you thought, actually, I need to change this and this is why I'm here?
I don't think there was one breakthrough moment. I think it's a series of small incremental steps that got me to where I am. And I suppose I don't know whether it's Hollywood or just what we hear from these exciting people who say like, there's just one thing you need to do that makes it happen or one light bulb moment. For me, it wasn't that. It was a lot of small questions I kept asking myself. Like, how do I do this? Why don't I feel like this at work? How come I've got a promotion and I feel more stressed now than I did beforehand? Those small questions that basically just piled up to this massive mountain that just made me think, this isn't right, but I don't know what is. And then kept chipping away at that as well.
Have you always been so reflective internally? Because what I speak to a lot of people, some when I'm in the bath and some when I'm out of the bath. And not everybody asks themselves those types of questions and is so reflective on their own journey. A lot of people just course day by day and just see where their path takes them. So I guess, has this always been inside you to be as introspective, or whatever the word is, and curious?
No, not at all. I'm quite open with this. I'm a very different person than I was 10 years ago. Not only in how I live, what I do, my hobbies, my beliefs, my values are all very different now. This idea of like being retrospective, I think, was developed in part when I had a corporate job and I was put on this managerial program designed to take, the hot shots, the rising stars, I like to call them, of the organization and build them the skills to go further within the organization. And that kind of forced me to do this retrospection, like looking back and just think, okay, I've met a load of new people, but I found myself, I consider myself an introvert, not connecting with them. Why did I do that? And almost just practicing that introspection. And that's something that I continue to have, continue to use. But I definitely don't think this is something that's always existed within me. I think there's a couple things that have remained core to me throughout, like the idea to be different from everyone else. I don't want to do what everyone else does. And that's stayed the same. Maybe curious in the sense that I'm always trying to find out answers to stuff, but not necessarily introspective. I've not always looked back on why I'm in the position I am now, the steps I took to get there. That's something that's quite recent.
I got you. Is there any particular reason for that introspection? Or is it just part of your development where you've kind of started questioning yourself more?
Yeah, I think it's definitely like a more recent thing because of what I do now. I run my own business now. It's quite difficult, I think, to do that without having some sort of like sense checking, without some sort of like audit process or some what do you call it, like an Ofcom for my own business that's run by myself. I think when you have a traditional 9 to 5, not that that's wrong, but you can almost just turn up and then say, right, I'm going to be myself now for the rest of the time. Whereas I am the business at the moment. I've got to be doing everything I can to push myself, push the business. And that means, I think one of the ways of doing that, one of the ways I've seen growth in myself is looking back and asking those questions. Like one of the ones I talk about in detail is one that many people my age and a bit younger are familiar with. The question, what do you want to do when you're older? What do you want to do when you leave school? And I remember at that age just thinking, I don't know. And nobody could help me.
Yeah, completely. So, I mean, I'm still trying to find out what I do this week. It's probably one of the reasons I'm in the bath, because I don't know what I want to do when I grow older. Do you know what you want to be when you grow up now? Or is this just the next version of Jake and then on the path to somewhere different?
It's a yes and no on that one. I think the idea that you have a dream job is not correct. I don't think there's any one job that you could be happy with for 50 years as an individual, but I do think there's like a trend that you can be happy with for 50 years and that lots of different jobs will take you to. So I don't think I'll be doing this forever, motivational speaking and workshop hosting, but I do think I'll be inspiring young people for a long time. I think I will be challenging the norm, doing things differently for the rest of my career. And I think I'll be continuing to inspire and motivate for the rest of my career. So I don't think there's one job that an individual would be really happy with their whole career. I'd love to hear any stories of people that have had one job that's made them happy throughout. But I do think because at school, when we leave university, when we're told what do you want to do, we pick up one job and we say that's the goal. And then we either get there and then realize, oh, okay, I've been doing this for a while, this is not quite right. Or we just keep looking at it and thinking, is that me? Is that right? Do I actually want to go there?
Yeah.
So it's to answer your question, it's yes and no. I know what I'll be doing, but I don't know the exact job I'll have.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that perspective as well. So I guess we were saying just before we went live, I've got a niece who was about to turn 18 and about to step into the wild world. Hasn't got a clue what she wants to do. if you were that age, and the people that you're speaking to at that age, what advice do you offer? Do you share? Do you give them?
So what your niece will probably have heard from friends, family, teachers, careers advisors is to follow your passion. And I think that works very well when you're a bit older. But if you're 18, if you're in fact getting up to sort of 25, the advice I would give is to find your passion. The thing is, you only know the jobs you'd like to do. You've only got an idea of what hobbies you've got because you've tried them. You weren't passionate about what you're passionate now 5 years ago. You didn't have a hobby in football until you started playing football. You weren't passionate about art until you started doing art. How much is out there in the world of work that you just haven't tried yet that you might be passionate about? The traditional stuff like marketing or finance or business leadership or communication. How much of that have you just not tried yet? So it's reasonable that you wouldn't know what you're passionate about. So the advice I give to young people, really just find your passion. Try lots of different things in quick, cheap and easy ways, like maybe volunteering, maybe doing work experience, maybe just in your spare time building something that you think you might like. And then from doing all of those, you start to work out, okay, what is it I actually like? I'll give you a real life example from myself. So when I was 17, I was quite passionate about football. So I took on a role coaching a youth football team. It's only in hindsight that I realised I'm more passionate about developing people than I am football. I know that now. And that carries forward into what I do now. I'm more passionate about developing people. But I didn't know that when I was 17. Why would I? Why would I know that? Because I've not done it. I've played football, but I've not done it. I thought I might want a career in video game design, quite like video games. But it was only after making a video game I realised autonomy was really important to me, not just creativity about doing it myself. I didn't know that when I left school. Why would I? I've never had the chance to do that. So the advice I would give is try more stuff, quick, cheap and easy as you can, just to give things a go.
Yeah, I love that. But I guess, how do you know? So I like a lot of stuff, but I guess, how do you know once you've found your passion that you need to follow that passion and it's that you want to keep with you? So what are the triggers and what are the things that you kind of hold on to? Because I mean, I like eating Black Forest Gatto and chocolate cake, and so I love those giant Cadbury's buttons, right? And if anybody would pay me to eat them, then that would be my dream job. So how do you know when a passion could actually be a profession?
Yeah, I love this. I think too often we're made to believe that our hobbies or passions, because those are interchanged at my age, young people's age, hobbies and passions, that we have to monetize them. I'm passionate about Netflix, for example. Doesn't mean I have to monetize it. Doesn't mean I have to do that for a living. But it's this constant process of refining what it is you're actually looking for. I'll try use your example. This will be a thought exercise for me. So if you think that you might like to be someone that gets paid to eat Black Forest Gatto for a living, there may be a few different ways you could do that. Maybe you're a food critic. Maybe you're a competitive eater. Let's go with those. That's maybe the end goal. But if you love the process, then you might have a career you love. Just because you might enjoy eating cake doesn't mean you'll love the process, which for a competitive eater would be eating lots of cake all the time, which might sound nice, might sound not very nice, almost like Matilda, where he's got to eat that massive cake. Or for a food critic, it might be writing down what you think about cake all the time, which you might like, you might not like. And it's only by doing the steps that take you to that end goal, which you think you might like, that you start to work out if you actually do. So if you think of your dream career not as like one destination, but as a path, that in order to get to a job where you eat cake for a living, there's quite a lot of steps that you need to take. You have to voluntarily eat cake for a lot of time. You have to do the things that take you to that role. And then you'll realize, actually, I like eating cake, but only in my spare time, only on a Friday. I don't like eating cake every meal of the day to be a competitive eater. I wouldn't enjoy that. Or I don't actually like writing down my thoughts about cake to be a food critic. That doesn't sound like me. And it's by constantly refining what you think you'd like and then trying it in the quick, cheap and easy ways. So a different example for those of you that don't relate to this cake cake exercise. Let's say maybe you want to be a astronaut. That's one. I actually got someone send me a message on my TikTok saying, how do I be an astronaut? And I thought, well, you just take small steps for man. No, come on. But you can't just volunteer at NASA to be an astronaut, right? It's not that simple as trying it. But there are first steps you can take, no matter how unrealistic a job is. For an astronaut, that might be volunteering at your local air cadets, because everyone that is an astronaut has to have 2 years being a pilot. That might be doing the challenges on the NASA website every week when they come up. And if you realize that actually I don't like being air cadets, I don't like learning to fly, or I don't enjoy doing the NASA challenges, maybe being an astronaut's not right for you. Really refining what you think you'd like, giving it a little test, and then maybe having a bit of reflection.
So do you have a process, or I guess, because how do you get people to create the habit of recognizing the steps that they're taking whilst they're trying to find their passion? I'll stop there rather than diluting the question. How do they do that?
So this is one of the things I cover quite in depth in my workshop, and maybe it's not something I can completely cover in 30 minutes, but I'll certainly give you the structure of it. The first thing is writing down the things that you're passionate about now, or that you have been passionate about, and then trying to work out the essence of it. Now, too often we're not very good at this when we start, and that's pretty reasonable because it's the first time we've done it. But for example, football, when I used to play, I know now looking back that it was leadership and personal development that made me enjoy football, that I would probably enjoy in any sport. But when we ask people, why do you like football? They're just, well, it's fun. And that is quite difficult. So it's this process of taking what you like and just trying to figure out why. And that's something that can't be done in a workshop or over a 5-minute talk, but constantly picking out, trying to get the essence of why you like things you like. So if it's not football, maybe it's art. Maybe it's about your creative expression, doing things differently. There's loads of different reasons why people like the same things, whether it's music, art, eating cake. There's loads of different reasons. And go on.
I love this. Yeah, my mind's going all over the place. At what age should somebody start doing this?
So I start with people as young as 16. I think the earlier you start, I'd say the better it helps you, but the younger you are, the less quickly you find it, because it is really difficult. And it involves a lot of this introspection and constant chipping away of it, constantly making those small steps. Maybe it's easier to start off by saying, what things about football don't I like? And then I can start to take those off. The thing is with young people, I think on the whole, we're pretty good at picking up new skills. I think that's something that's probably proven, new skills, new languages. But it's only when we have that motivation and drive to get there that we can. And I think if you start with people that are going through the same struggles that I was facing, that uncertainty in your career, the feeling that you're like stuck or that you're on a timer, even though you're 21 years old, if you start with them, they're much better, they're much quicker because they're more motivated to find out, okay, what is the essence of my passions? What is the trend between my hobbies, and how can I use that to find a fulfilling career?
Yeah, completely. I love that. And where my mind's gone now is I didn't know what I wanted to do for quite a number of years. I'm a little bit slightly older than you, Jake. You're not meant to nod when I say that. But yeah, I'm a little bit older. And if somebody said to me at the age of 18, that you need to find your passion and then follow your passion and you can have a really fulfilling life and career, I would have thought that I would have had all of the time in the world, and that age 40 was such a long way away. I'm like half of the time. I'm there now, And I kind of wish I'd have looked at it a little bit more in depth when I was younger. So how do you create that motivation in somebody that to do this, to buy into this, and to actually spend the time completing these activities?
The main thing I would say here is that it's something that's generational. And I know that, for example, my parents don't really get it. They went through their careers working out what they wanted to do, and they're at a place where they're kind of happy with what they do now. I think most people, I'd say millennials, I don't want to, put everyone into this circle, but millennials and younger, we've got this feeling that two feelings actually. One is that we see the world around us. We're constantly bombarded with things on the news that we don't like, and we feel like our work should make a difference to those. We see things like social injustice, climate change, and we think, my work really doesn't matter, does it? I wish it could. I wish I could love my work because it made a difference. The second thing is that through no fault of our own, my age group has grown up in a world of instant gratification. Amazon delivery comes next day. If you want to watch a film, you can just stream it on Netflix. If you want a date, you just pick up your phone and swipe to the side. That's it. You don't have to go through all of those difficult bits. You don't have to worry and plan to the same extent. And we've grown up with that, again, through no fault of our own. And that means we almost demand more from our careers earlier, which means I don't want to have to do a job I dislike for 10, 20, 30 years just to enjoy the time I've got left.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to wait until I retire to do the things that I'd love to do. I don't want to have to wait until the weekend to do the things I'd love to do. And I think now, not only with this motivation, but because the economy is so different than it was, we don't have to have the same job for our entire lives. We don't have to stick to one industry for our entire career. That we have that flexibility to try the things that we would really like to do and to make a successful and fulfilling career out of that. So I think to answer your question, for young people, it's almost generational, that we want different stuff from our careers than your generation, than my parents' generation, that the generation before them as well. We want different stuff.
Yeah. Wow. I feel a little bit old now, Jake, and I feel it's my doing that's done that. So what is possible? What, I guess this is, you can answer this one or two ways really, is either what is it that makes this so important to do? Why is having a fulfilling career important? Or in fact, actually, I just asked that one question. Why should anybody bother? What is in it for them? So
we, on average, will spend about 80,000 hours of our lives at work. That's on average, most people working 40 hours a week. If you're expecting to spend that time at work unhappy, stressed, anxious, unfulfilled, stuck, frustrated, just with the hopes that you enjoy the 3 hours you get at home after work, that you enjoy your weekends, that you enjoy your 2 weeks you get off work, I really think you're selling yourself short of your potential. I think we're capable of so much more that sometimes we just feel like this is the only option. And I would love to create a world where everyone is happier, we're more caring, and we're all more successful because we do work that we love. And it's not just from an emotional standpoint that it would be fantastic.
I lost you just for a second then. So you just said then, Jake, you would love to. Oh, sorry, Jake, one second. I lost you for a second then. You'd love to create a world where what?
Where we're more happy with our jobs, we're more caring in our lives, and we're more successful in what we do because we love our work, not in spite of it. And just retracing my steps a little bit now, not only from an emotional standpoint, where we know how much happier we would be if we had more time with our families, if we actually came home from work feeling happy rather than stressed out and anxious. Not only from that emotional standpoint, is that when we're engaged and enjoy what we do at work, we're more productive as employees, we're more innovative, we're more creative. We we create better work when we're happy. So even if you're, a draconian leader that thinks happiness is just, that's something you should do at home, I'm paying you money, just, do whatever, you will get more results at work if your people are engaged and happy. It's a win-win that we're only starting to see as possible now because we've got a generation that are motivated to get there.
Wow, you're really passionate about this, aren't you?
I know how it feels. And to go into a bit more depth about my story, it got to the point where, and this is something I share in my keynote, that for everyone around me, my family, my friends, my colleagues, I was successful. I was progressing through the company. I got to travel around Europe, teaching C-suite executives how to create company values, but I wasn't happy. And I knew that made me stressed. And it got to the point where I started getting blinding migraines in the morning. So you'll know this, but white noise from an old CRT TV in my eyes when I woke up. That's how bad it got for me. And I know so many other people, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of young people face the same thing in their jobs. They're anxious when they get up because they know they're going to hate their job. They're stressed when they're at work because they feel undermined. They don't feel supported. They don't know what they'd rather be doing. And I know that we're capable of so much more. It just feels sometimes that we don't know how to get there. And it was only when I started looking into what I do now to do the research to find out, how do most people enjoy their lives? Do most people enjoy their careers? That I started to find the small incremental steps to help me get out of a place where people thought I was successful, but I wasn't happy and I didn't feel cared for. And I think if we can get a balance of those three, happiness in what you do, care for those around you, your communities, the world, and success in whatever metric you define that, we will create a better world, one with more well-being, one with more productivity, one where we actually really enjoy living and we don't constantly see things on the news that, appall and upset us.
Yeah, wow. Your passion for this comes through really, really evidently and strongly. If people want to know more about Jake, if they want to work with you, if they want to speak to you, where would they go? What would they do? What would they find?
So 3 main places that you can get in touch with me. One is on LinkedIn. I'm Jake Richings. For those of you that are a bit younger, I don't know who watches your podcast, but anyone that is 16 to 24, you can follow my TikTok. That is not to say that anyone older than 24 doesn't watch TikTok. I just know the majority do. My TikTok is Jake Richings, and my website, www.jakerichings.com, where you can find out more about what I do, how I can help your students if you're a school or university, how I can help your people if you're a charity that helps young, not in education, employment or training, young people, or if you're an individual that just feels a bit stuck with your career, frustrated with where you are now and you just don't really know where you'd rather be, then you're one of the people that I love to help.
Wow, it's amazing to hear such a, I'm going to say young person, comparatively young person to myself, have such clarity on who they are, where the passion is, and what they want to do and how they want to help. So kudos to you, Jake. Thank you very much for joining me today. The bathwater is going a little bit cold. My fingers are now a little bit wrinkly, so that normally means that it's about time for me to get out, and I don't want to do that live. I want to do that behind the camera. So honestly, Jake, thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to following you on your journey, and I look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Lee. See you soon, mate.